That was Sonambient. This is a Harry Bertoia podcast.
Hello, I'm Celia Bertoia, the daughter of Harry Bertoia, and today we're going to talk about buying your first Bertoia. Okay, let's say you've been coveting a Bertoia for many years, and you finally have some discretionary funds. How do you do it? Where do you go? Who do you talk to? Well, we're going to explain it all to you. Auctions are the most relevant and common marketplace for Bertoia, so that's what we're focused on today. Of course, you can go to galleries, and that's fine too. You will pay a higher price at galleries, but then you don't have to pay the buyer's premium or shipping. So, all kinds of pros and cons to either. But we hope that you buy what you love, but keep your wits about you, that you'll be spurred by passion, but guided by common sense. So, some questions to ask yourself, and of course your partner, if you have one. What is it that you really want? What would be your ideal Bertoia piece? Now, you have to be realistic. If it's a dandelion, that's going to be a lot of money. We just broke all Bertoia records recently with a dandelion selling at Sotheby's for $1.9 million. So that might be out of your reach for your first one. Is it a bush, a tonal, a small bronze, perhaps a monotype? The monotypes, while Bertoia is not necessarily known for his monotypes, the two-dimensional works, some of them are just fantastic, much cheaper, and you can deal directly with the Harry Bertoia Foundation to purchase a monotype. We really don't have them out at any galleries anymore, and we have about 900 of them, so it's a large selection. But putting that aside, okay, what do you want might be different from what you can afford. So think about your budget and absolutely set your top limit before you ever get to auction day. You must set a limit because in the frenzy and excitement of the bidding war, you might go a little crazy. So think ahead. Another question for yourself is, where do you plan to display the piece? Do you actually have a spot for a tall tonal? Or do you have a really nice corner for a bush? Or do you have good white wall space for a monotype? All right, how about questions about the piece itself? Find out about the condition, get the condition report, which you usually have to ask for. In the case of Bertoia, many of them will have a certificate of authenticity, or a COA for short, which proves that it is indeed a Bertoia, because there are a lot of copies out there, especially of the sprays, and now getting more so with the tonals or the sounding sculptures. Ask about the provenance. The history of ownership. Is there a clear chain of ownership from the artist to today? That isn't always possible to trace. A question that I like to ask is an open-ended question, something like, what else can you tell me about this piece? And that opens the field for all kinds of information, and I've gotten some very interesting answers to a question like that. All right, so some other things to be aware of with an auction. As I mentioned, there is a buyer's premium. The auction houses are doing a lot of marketing. They have expensive showrooms and warehouses and high-end representatives. So they have a lot of expenses to pay for. They charge the seller a fee, and they also charge the buyer a fee. And it's often as much as 25% of the selling price. The hammer price, which is the price stated as the hammer goes down, to that price, the auction house will add their 20 or 25%. So you pay that full amount. You will also pay for shipping. And I should mention, the smaller the hammer price, the larger the buyer's premium. You will pay for shipping. The heavier the object, the higher the shipping price. If there's no crate for a metal sculpture, you will also pay for the building of a custom crate. That's another question you could ask. Does the object have a crate already with it? Now, as far as your own finances, you've got to have your ducks in a row. You have to have all your bank data ready for the auction house. In fact, the top tier auction houses will request all your bank data before you ever make your first bid. The funds have to be readily available on auction day. There are no payment schedules allowed. Maybe on eBay, but not at Sotheby's or Christie's. When the auction houses are setting the estimates, the pre-sale estimates, they have a tendency to estimate low to lure more interested parties into the bidding. And that estimate, sometimes it's fairly accurate, but I have seen everything from a pre-sale estimate bush of $40,000 go for a final price of $200,000, and I've also seen things like a tonal that was estimated at $50,000 ending up going for $25,000. So you never know. The auction day can bring really well qualified, varied clientele, or maybe for whatever reason, maybe it's a rainy day, who knows, it might not attract many people at all. So now, if you go to the top tier auction houses, such as Sotheby's, Christie's, Phillips, you will pay top dollar in auction terms. If you can find some of the smaller auction houses, and you can just do a search online, Hindman, Skinner, Palm Beach, sometimes you'll get more of a bargain at these smaller auction houses. Heritage isn't small, but they deal in Bertoia somewhat. But yeah, sometimes you can find a bargain there because Bertoia isn't one of their specialties or regular items. So if you give yourself a Google alert on Harry Bertoia, you'll be notified of these things. So let's say you finally have made all your decisions, you've asked your questions, you know all about the piece, you know exactly which one you want. Well, how do you do it on the day of? You've got choices. You can go live. During COVID, everything was online, but now some auction houses have opened up to live bidding again, which is always exciting, and you see who else is in the room and you get kind of the flavor of the auction. You can do it online, either through the auction itself or a third party such as live auctioneers, and that gives you full control. Or you can do a phone bid through the auction house. You'll need to set that up beforehand. Personally, I prefer the phone bidding because that salesperson can tell you what's going on, how many other bidders are there, and it's just nice to have someone to talk to while you're in that heightened state of excitement about buying your first Bertoia. So you've set your bid limit and you're getting up there. There's only one other bidder. They drop off. It goes to you, and the hammer goes down. Congratulations! You have just purchased your first Bertoia. It will be shipped to you within a few weeks, and you will be a happy new Bertoia collector. We've got all kinds of tips on our website, harrybertoia.org, or you can check us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you.